The Miami Dolphins are the 4.5-point underdogs going up against the Chargers. But before I get into that, let me say this. Welcome to the show. My name is Brock Page, and I have a diverse portfolio of trying to predict the outcomes of things I have absolutely no control of. Now, before I waste any more of your time, let's dive back into the Dolphins-Chargers line movement. The Los Angeles, we continue to find ways to lose. Chargers opened up the 2.5-point favorites and the total at 45.5. Since then, the LA Chargers are now laying 4.5 points against the spread, with the total moving downward to an even 45. Currently, the Chargers are laying 220 after opening up as the 2-1 moneyline favorites. And at the moment, 51% of the money's on the Chargers, so I'm not expecting the line to get much higher than 4.5 points. On a side note, however, the line did get as high as Los Angeles -5 earlier in the week. Next game I have for you, New York Jets at the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders opened up as the 10-point favorites, and as expected, all the money came pouring in on the Raiders to cover. They're now -14 against the spread, with the total remaining at the opening number of 43.5 points. Currently, Oakland's laying 1,000 betting units as the moneyline favorites, and at the moment, the money continues to pour in on the Raiders. 68% of the betting public has action on Oakland. Folks, we could very well see this line get to as high as 15, 15.5, even 16 points. If you're a Jets bettor, I'd fully expect that number to get at least a 15.5, and as soon as it does, I'd most likely tease the hell out of it in a 7-pointer. But that's only if you're a Jets bettor. If you're laying the Raiders to take it by 2 touchdowns, you are certainly justified with your wager. Next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Dallas at Denver. The Cowboys opened up as the 1.5-point favorites, and the total at just 42.5. Since then, most of the early money came in on the Cowboys to cover. Dallas is now -2 against the spread, with the total moving downward to an even 42 points. Currently, Dallas is laying $1.35. Not much movement on the opening money line odds there. And at the moment, 57% of the action is on the Cowboys to get the job done. So look for that number of -2 to hold on through at least mid-afternoon today. On a side note, most of the betting public is taking the under in this matchup. I think this one can get as low as 41.5 on the total. Next contest, Washington Redskins at the LA Rams. We've got a flip on the lines in this one. The Washington Redskins opened up the betting as the 1.5-point favorites. However, a ton of the early money came pouring in on the Rams to get the job done. The LA Rams are now -2.5 against the spread, with that total remaining dormant at the opening number of 46 points. Currently, the Rams are the 3-2 moneyline favorites, and at the moment, 62% of the actions on the LA Rams get the job done. With that percentage in mind, I'm expecting the spread to get as high as LA -3.5, but finish up at a closing number of around 3 points. If you're a Rams bettor, lock it up now. If you're a Skins bettor, I think you're at least going to get 3 points by the closing bell. Next game I have for you, it is going to be an NFC West divisional matchup. I'm talking about San Fran at Seattle. The opening number was Seattle -13, with the total at 43.5. Since then, the early money mostly came in on the Seahawks and the under. We have Seattle as the 13.5-point favorites, with the total moving downward to 42.5. Currently, Seattle's laying 1,000 betting units after opening up 833 for some moneyline cash. And at the moment, a staggering 73% of the actions on the Seahawks to get the job done. With that in mind, Seattle -14 is definitely a lock in the near future, but I think we'll see ourselves at a closing number of at least 14.5. If you're a Seattle bettor in this one, no more pussyfooting around. If you're a Niners bettor, however, San Fran +14 is a more than fair market price. If it gets to 14.5, act quickly and maybe even tease it with that Jets game in a 7-pointer. All right, next matchup, Sunday night primetime football. Great game here, folks. Green Bay at Atlanta. The Falcons were laying 1 point when the books released the opening lines. Most of that early money did, in fact, come in on the Falcons. Atlanta's now -2.5 against the spread, with the total moving downward an entire point to 53.5. Currently, Atlanta's laying 145 for some money line cash, and at the moment, 62% of the action's now on Green Bay. With that in mind, Atlanta bettors should look for that line to move down to Atlanta -2 or even -1.5. If you're riding with the pack, I don't like your chance of getting 3.5 in this one. If you can get the 3 points, though, wherever you end up shopping, I think that's about as fair of a market price as you're going to find. All right, folks, next and final game for the show, it is going to be Monday Night Football, Detroit Lions at the New York Giants. I said earlier in the week, these opening lines had me very befuddled. The Lions opened up as the 5-point underdogs in this matchup. Literally, the opening number was Giants laying the 5. Now, since the betting opened up, a lot of the betting public found themselves in the same boat as me, confused and drunk with perceived value. All of that early money came pouring in on the Detroit Lions. Right now, we have Detroit getting just 3.5 points on the spread, with the total remaining at 43.5 points. Currently, the Giants are still the moneyline favorites at $1.75. They were the 2-1 favorites earlier in the week, and some books had them even better than that. But as for now, a staggering 73% of the action is still on the Detroit Lions. If you like Detroit, you're not getting better than 3.5 here on out. If you're looking for the G-Men to bounce back, I fully expect you to lay maybe just 2 points at that closing number. All told, we'll see if this Giants team is as bad as they showed us last week. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. And for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page Productions, I'm Brock Page. And have yourself a positive day.